I started drinking when I was a young man, young kid, actually 14 years old. And you know, that became my primary function for my personality. My attitude was that life's a party, and that's the way it was.
My substance abuse began very young. I was 13 years old, and had a family tragedy. When I was 15, my dad got killed, and that's when my substance abuse really took off. I was unaware of, say, drug addiction and alcoholism per se, but I didn't really care whether I was or not. You know, I thought I was having fun with it.
3 years ago, I was homeless, a drunk, an addict, with no purpose in life, no desire to handle life on life's terms. But the lifestyle of drugs is vicious. There's no love, there's no dignity, there's nothing but hatred and ugliness.
I left the bar at 2 o'clock in the morning. I was 19 years old, and I turned a corner onto a main road, and I laid down in the middle of the road, and I was hoping that the next car to come by would run me over and kill me. And I had totally given up on myself. In that from 19 to age 30, I don't know how many times I was in the rescue wagon.
The alcoholism was always prevalent, but drugs are equally as much of a part of my story. That was a whole new onslaught of pain and suffering that I put myself through. It was my coping mechanism in life. Other people that don't have this problem of addiction, they'll go through hard times, trials, errors, and they'll get through to the other side of them. And in my case, I used alcohol and drugs to pave the way.
I've been homeless. I've been in the hospital. I used to live in the hospitals, sneaking around, trying to eat, trying to survive. I've been thrown out of the hospital, been picked up by the EMTs, being put out 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, say, you're okay now. I was not okay. I had nowhere to go, no one to talk to, no one to ask for help.
I've got over 100 detoxes logged in my life. And eventually, I started believing that my condition was hopeless.
But I remember, like, you know, moving towards those rescue wagon rides, they got sick of me. And, you know, there were times they pull up and tell me to walk to the hospital. They were sick of it, you know.
My entire existence was revolved around getting that next drink and trying to get through another moment.
But there are some people out there who have their own ideas of why somebody's laying there in his shit, piss all over himself, puked all over himself. Nobody wants to touch that ugliness. But there are some out there with good hearts that have no problem handling that.
When I first came, it was a lot for me to take in some of the people who were chronic inebriates. Over time, some of my judgments really started falling away because it became clear to me that no one would make a choice to lose everything. You know, would you make that choice to live lying on the street corner, unable to talk, with, you know, no clean clothes, no place to sleep when you have the flu? Would you make that choice?
Nobody wants to be homeless. Nobody wants to be alone. Nobody wants to be in pain.
I woke up rolled up on an Oriental rug on a pile of leaves in an abandoned garage. And when I stood up, I smelled like one of them outhouses out there. And that was my turning point to do something about it. So I had this much pride left to go do something about it. You know, I've been sober now for, you know, since September 27th, 2007. And, you know, this morning when I woke up in my own apartment.
It's not easy, but sometimes someone hits some moment and you never know from the outside what it was about that moment that made them change. But something or things have come together to help them, and and they've moved forward and they've been able to stay in recovery.
The drugs and the alcohol began to lose their appeal. Temporary ease and comfort for long-term pain and suffering. And I'm just not willing to pay that price anymore. I just recently got 3 years clean. And there's a whole new existence out here. There's a whole new life. I have purpose in my life today.
I had a spiritual awakening that the God that I serve would bring me through. So when I go to that shelter 3 times a week, I let them know that they're men first, humans, that there's another way. That if Joe can do it, they can do it.
When I see the guys out there that I used to drink with, I stop and chat for a minute or two just to give them some confidence that it can be done, but I don't hang with them no more, I can't.
I think there are people who have equally gripping addictions, but who are protected by their family, who still have housing, and so it's hidden from us, and so we don't freely make those judgments.
Addiction in and of itself is it's a hideous, ugly disease. The rescue workers and the police, these personnel, are constantly coming in contact with the worst face of addiction. And eventually what ends up happening, it becomes discouraging.
Just take a second look. Because nobody was born an addict. Nobody was born a drunk. But for those that give help, it's not just a job. It shouldn't be just a job, just a profession. It should be an insight into how to treat another human being. My name is Joe and I'm an addict.
People are salvageable. There's somebody's brother, there's somebody's father, there's somebody's uncle, you know. It didn't say on their birth certificate when they were born, I'm John Sullivan and I'm a piece of crap. I'm a drunken piece of crap. It don't say that. It says I'm John Sullivan, a person. And I'm Gino and I'm a person in recovery.
If I can do this, absolutely anybody can.
Recovery works. Recovery is the bomb. I'm telling you, you cannot buy what I got today. I am so blessed. You know, it took me 48 years to get here, but I'm here to stay.
With this audience, I can tell you this. When I walk down the street in Newport, if a firefighter comes by me in one of their vehicles, they beep and go like that to me. They give me the thumbs up.
These are some of the many faces and voices of recovery, and we thank you for listening and seeing.